Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai Bahashim Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us the truth. Shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing the word in truth and in sincerity. All right, so the name of this lesson is going to be Air Superiority. All right, which includes air and sea, but we're going to focus on air. All right. So we're going to get 2 Kings 6, and we're going to start at 11. All right. And this tells a story, all right, about our air superiority, which goes all the way back, okay, to when nothing else was in the sky. All right. 2 Kings 6 and 11. Therefore, the heart of the king of Syria was sore troubled for this thing. And he called his servants and said unto them, Will ye not show me which of us is for the king of Israel? And one of his servants said, None, my lord, O king, but Elisha, the prophet that is in Israel, telleth the king of Israel the words that thou speakest in thy bedchamber. And he said, Go and spy where he is, that I may send and fetch him. And it was told him, saying, Behold, he is in Dothan. Therefore sent he thither horses and chariots and a great host. This word host means army. And they came by night and compassed the city about. All right, so the king of Syria sent out his army, right? And when the servant of the man of the Most High was risen early and gone forth, behold, an host compassed the city, both with horses and chariots. So the servant of the man of God, right, was who was Elisha, I believe, was surprised to see that he was surrounded by an army. And his servant said unto him, Alas, my master, how shall we do? And he answered, Fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes, that he may see. So this was the guy that was with Elisha, okay? And he was afraid of all of the army that was around him. And he said, well, what the hell are we going to do? We're about to get swept up, all right? And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, a mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha. Okay? Now, this could be a mothership. The mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha. And when they came down in the fighter jets, okay, mothership is carrying fighters just like a aircraft carrier, right? It's got planes in the mothership. That's why they call it the mothership, because there's little ships that come out of it, you know. And when they came down to him, Elisha prayed unto the Lord and said, Smite this people, I pray thee, with blindness. And he smote them with blindness according to the word of Elisha. And Elisha said unto him, This is not the way, neither is this the city. Follow me, and I will bring you to the man whom ye seek. But he led them to Samaria. So this was an example of the air superiority, right, that is round about the men of the Lord. All right? And they couldn't even say we're cloaked. So the other army had no idea that they were surrounded. Okay, which is the point that I'm getting at. All right, the point is that we have air superiority, right? Let's go to 11 real quick. Wait a minute. Slovakia. Slovakia, bear with me. 2 Kings 2. Oh, it's 11. Okay, let me get 2. Real quick. All right. 2 Kings 2 and 11. Because we want to get the name of this air superiority. And it came to pass that they still went on and talked that, behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven, and Elisha saw it, and he cried, my father, the chariot of Israel, and the horsemen thereof. Okay, so that's the name of the chariots of Israel, or the chariots of the Lord. All right. Now, this here is qualifying who the air superiority is for. It's got our name on it. Okay, like on the tail or on the fuselage of a F-18, it's got a star with those stripes on it. Right, that's the insignia of the American, or whatever, whoever that aircraft belongs to is going to have their insignia or their name on it. All right, well, here's our name on the most elite piece of fighting or weaponry that you can ever imagine. We're going to get into that. All right, so now let us go to this. This is Grim Reaper's channel, May 21, 2018. And it says, explain correct use of air superiority fighters in a tactical theater. And we know this word theater goes to the stage, and all the world is a stage. Okay? But that's another lesson. Let's listen to this because they're going to explain air superiority, all right?
Hello and welcome back to the Reapers. So today's video is the correct use of air superiority fighters in a tactical theatre. So I guess we have to kind of justify what that means first of all. So for instance, if we look at other groups, let's take the 104th, everyone knows who they are, or SF Squadron, Finland, people know who they are. I think they're the two top kind of air-to-air fighting groups. They're a little bit different to us. So they specialise in fast jet air-to-air combat, F-15s versus flankers versus Mirages, that kind of stuff. And what they tend to do on their fights, from what I see, is they get a load of blue fighters against a load of red fighters, and they blow a whistle and off they go, and they go and try and kill each other as best they can. And those groups are extremely good at doing that, much better than we'll ever be, and that's what they specialise in. I know that because I spent some time with SF Squadron, and they taught me everything I knew about air-to-air combat. But Grim Reapers are a little bit different. What we do is try and deal with a whole tactical theatre. If you've been watching it,
and we know that the Grim Reaper is talking about Yahweh Shai. So what the hell are you doing using our language to try to glorify? What you're doing is blaspheming Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai when he's coming to fucking annihilate you.
Latest campaign, at least, you'll know that we've got a whopping great campaign. If I scroll the screen over here, you can see that's our continuing campaign. 200 miles of lots of stuff, lots of ground stuff, and lots of objectives. So we're dealing with a tactical situation where it's not all about just red fighters killing blue fighters and blue fighting killing red fighters. It's about achieving attainable tactical goals, mainly on the ground, because air superiority only means so much. So my point of saying all of that is that when you see other groups using F-15s and flankers, i.e. air superiority fighters, you will see them trying to kill each other. And like I said, they do it very well. With the Grim Reapers, it's a little different. You could almost say that our group, our ideal for air superiority is not to kill each other. All we're interested in is controlling the airspace so that our ground pounders and our ground units can go in and do their job.
Okay, so he just broke it down. He took about 15 minutes, and I exaggerate when I say that, but that was the definition of air superiority. Let's hear him say it again.
Controlling the airspace so that our ground pounder.
Controlling the airspace.
Ideal for air superiority is not to kill each other. All we're interested in is controlling the airspace so that our ground pounders and our ground units can go in and do their job. So, for instance,
okay, so that's basically what it is. All right. Now, controlling the airspace by dominating your vehicles, dominating the other vehicles that are in the theater. All right. Now, the chariots of Israel are going to dominate anything that this devil has made. And that's just one, that's just air. And in the sea or naval is going to dominate that too. They're just absolutely no match. A chariot can cover all of this ground in a half a second. It can disappear here and reappear here instantly. All right, just, I mean, to put things in perspective. Now, we could go on and listen to this. I'm going to try to keep this short.
At the moment, we have a set number of air superiority fighters. We have F-15s on the blue.
And my point is that this devil is talking as though he's the Most High. All right? So, no, you talk about air superiority. You talk about Grim Reaper. All right? And having the best chariots that are in the skies, and you know that there's something out there that far surpasses anything that you can even build. You know that. So what the hell are you talking about? Correct use of air superiority fighters in a tactical theater. All right? And apparently, well, no, they're called Grim Reapers, so whatever. All right. All right, so that's enough on that. All right, now let's get some scriptures that explain. Let's explain the correct use of air superiority. All right, because the weapon systems on the chariots of Israel, far surpass everything. All right. Let's go to start at Revelation 1. Okay. Revelation 1 and 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail. Why? Because of him. Even so, why are they going to wail? Okay. Let's get this. Revelation 19 and 11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse. That's a chariot. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness doth he judge and make war. That horse that he's on, that chariot, is about making war and bringing judgment on the motherfuckers there. All right? His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. He was clothed with a vesture of blood, vesture dipped in blood, and his name was called the Word of the Most High. And the enemies, Salakia, and the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses. That's them chariots, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations. Okay? And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. Okay? What is this sharp sword that goeth out of his mouth? These are the weapon systems, lasers, okay, photon torpedoes. What can you imagine? The best arms, right, that the world has never seen. All right? That sharp sword. This is Revelation 19:21. And the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceedeth out of his mouth. Okay? And all the fowl were filled with their flesh. Okay? That sword is concentrated fire. All right? Laser. Okay? Let's go back. So this is how we have air superiority, because you can't touch these chariots. All right? Revelation 2:16. Repent, or else I will come unto thee quickly, and I will fight against them with the sword of my mouth. I'll burn your ass. When you watch War of the Worlds, and them lasers are being shot by the tripod, and then all you see is some smoke, some vapor, really. All right? This is Revelation 1:16. And he had in his right hand 7 stars, and out of his mouth went a sharp two-edged sword. And his countenance was as the sun shineth in his strength. That's that chariot. Out of his mouth went a sharp two-edged sword. All right? Again, I'm going to try to keep this short. Just going over the weapon systems. Isaiah 11:4. But with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with the equity for the meek of the earth, and he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. Okay? That blast, the breath of his lips, the rod of his mouth. Okay? This is talking about the weapon systems of the chariots of Israel. Let's see if I can go back here. What did I miss? This is Revelation 2:12. And to the angel of the church of Pergamos write, these things saith he which hath the sharp sword with 2 edges. The weapon systems, air superiority, as well as sea, naval. Damn it. Second Thessalonians 2:8. And then that wicked will be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Okay? All right? You get the pattern? It's Job 4 and 9. By the blast of the Most High they perish, and the breath of his nostrils are they consumed. Okay? Hey, these weapon systems on these chariots are cannot be overcome. Okay? It's Isaiah 30 and 33. For Tophet is ordained of old, yea, for the king it is prepared. He hath made it deep and large. The pile thereof is fire and much wood. The breath of the Lord, like a stream of brimstone, doth he kindle it. What happened in Sodom and Gomorrah? Fire and brimstone, nigga. Them chariots blasted the shit out of it. And there's nothing left but sulfur over there. Okay? We'll get a couple more and go ahead and close. This is Book of Psalm 18. Psalm 18 and 6. In my distress I called upon the Lord and cried unto my power. He heard my voice out of his temple, and my cry came forth before him, even into his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled. The foundations also of the hills were moved and were shaken because he was wroth. There went up smoke out of his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also and came down, and darkness was under his feet. And he rode upon a cherub and did fly, yea, he did fly upon the wings of the wind. 16. He made darkness his secret place, his pavilion round about him were dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. At the brightness that was before him, his thick clouds passed, hailstones and coals of fire. The Lord also thundered in the heavens, and the highest gave his voice, hailstones and coals of fire. Yea, he sent arrows and scattered them, and he shot out lightnings and discomfited them. These are the weapon systems of the chariots. The channels of the waters were seen, and the foundations of the world were discovered at thy rebuke, O Lord, at the blast of breath of thy nostrils. He sent from above, he took me, he drew me out of many waters. Okay? We got air and sea superiority. He delivered me from my strong enemy and from them which hated me, for they were too strong for me. Hey, Esau, pursuant to this, they believe that they can't be overcome. But through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai, we're able to know what the scriptures are saying, and the Most High and the angels and his son Yahushua cannot be stopped, all right? So it's pretty clear what is about to happen. All we have to do is, endure until the end and keep hope and faith strong. All right, so with that, I hope that the elect were edified, and with that, we're going to say shalom.